Alright folks, we're back. I'm going to do another case in elite mode to pass the time. Case 33, like I said earlier.
Over 70 contaminants, including lead, pesticides, mercury, and more, starting at just $20. Charlie here
Since my other chapters got, parts of the other chapters got lost, Matthew, it's time to step up our game. Sombra almost got one up on us by kidnapping Elliot in Singapore, and it's only thanks to you that we got him back safely. From what Elliot's told us, the Sombra agent who kidnapped him was planning on bringing him here, to Indonesia, and we need to find out why. And I'll help you every step of the way, Matthew. Elliot, I wish you'd heeded my advice and stayed on dry land to recover from your ordeal. And I wish you guys would stop treating me like a kid. I keep telling you, I'm fine. Besides, I want to do my part in discovering what kind of experiments Sombra's carrying out on their brainwashed recruits. Fine, but I want you to take it easy for a while. We'll need you in top form later. Hey Chief, I think I can see somebody passed out on the beach. Whoever they are, they could be related to Sombra. Open the throttle, Matthew. You need to reach that beach, now.
She said her the circumstances was...
Nick was totally believable, and we knew the hope would go down when she told her story in front of the jury.
So why did you wait?
Runs as a termination lawyer, so just been using every diversionary motion and procedural tactics. Stalling his ass off.
And now we know how she gets gunned down in person.
We don't believe that either. Luckily, there was security cameras out on the
street
last night. You're going to see Annette and Jenna. That's her daughter coming out of a dress shop. Here comes a so-called purse snatcher. He's going to push Jenna out of the way, almost like he's...
Alright.
She fights to keep the purse, but only after she lets him go. This her pull his piece and shoot. So her snitching is an execution. Case against Lucas is dead as the names.
That's what can happen to murder.
Well, maybe Liv has calmed Jenna down enough.
There we are. We're too late, Matthew. This girl's dead. Someone speared her. Wait a minute, does she look familiar to you, Matthew? You're right, we've seen this girl before. She was in the Sombra DVD we found in Japan, the one which mentioned the Next Level program. And if she's here in Indonesia, we're definitely hot on Sombra's trail. Do you think Sombra might have killed her, Matthew? But why would they kill one of their own recruits? Something's off, I agree. We better send her body to Angela. It's a good thing we've got all our equipment back on the boat. Did you find anything else to help us make sense of this mess, Matthew? A photo? Well spotted. That's our victim. And it looks like she was pretty close to this guy, whoever he is. You better see if you can find him in the database. If we're lucky, it might also give us our victim's ID. And this camera might be our ticket to a fast arrest, if we can unlock its secrets. If we're going to uncover whatever Sombra's up to, then solving this murder is our first course of action. Let's do this, Matthew.
I know she knew it was important to her. What makes you say that? Because the last time he called, she just went off and started yelling at him. Go to hell. You can't scare me or stop me from telling the world what you did. She called him a devil's prick.
36 hours. Alright, and I will get some stars. So sit tight. Okay. I got 6 stars. Examine the unknown man.
Warehouse walls are giving us interference.
All units, move in.
Okay. There we go, 16. Alam Somalingi. So the guy in the photo with our victim is Alam Somalingi. He's a 25-year-old local fisherman. And the database also gives us our victim's ID. She's his sister, Riyaja Somalingi. Now for the part I hate. Let's go inform Alam of his sister's death, Matthew. Okay, that's 2. Foreman? Mr. Somalingi, we're sorry to inform you that your sister Riaja has been murdered. My sister's dead? Then I failed her. I was all she had after our parents died. It was my duty to protect her. Do you have any idea what might have happened to her? No, her behavior became unpredictable once she hit her teens. One time she disappeared for months and all I could do was wait for her to return. Do you know where Riaja went during that time? No, she refused to tell me anything. She was never the same after she pulled that stunt. And yet she still took the toy monkey that I gave her when we were kids, everywhere. Even when she went missing. I bought it because she loved nothing more than playing in the monkey forest. You didn't find the toy, did you, Ranger Matthew? Toy monkey. I'm afraid we didn't, but we'll keep an eye out for it. I appreciate it, Matthew. The toy has sentimental value, and I'd like something of Riaja's to hold on to. You're right, Matthew. The way Alam spoke about Riaja's unusual behavior suggests he had no idea she'd been recruited by Sombra. But good thinking. He did mention that Riaja liked to visit the forest. Let's go have a look. We might get lucky. Moment, folks. Okay. Let's examine the camera first. EIO. Oh no. MAP. QRI. Just got 16 in time. You managed to unlock that camera, Matthew? Let's click play and see what's on it. G'day, folks. This is Paul Irwin. I'm filming in Indonesia, where we're about to see something extraordinary. What I've got here is a crocodile egg, and I reckon it's about ready to hatch. Saltwater crocodiles lay up to 60 eggs at a time, and it takes about 3 months. Holy smokes, take a look at this little guy. What a privilege it's been to witness nature at work. Until next time, folks. Okay, that guy is dripping with enthusiasm. How does this help our investigation, though, Matthew? Oh, I see your point. He was filming on our crime scene, so he might have seen something. Let's go talk to this Paul. Excuse me again. If he knows anything about the murder.
It's over. Then you got 2 seconds.
Excuse me, Mr. Irwin. We believe this camera we found on the beach belongs to you. Crikey, thanks, Ranger. It would have been a crying shame to lose such cracking footage. I've been filming my latest documentary nearby. It's called Cuddly Crocs, the world's most misunderstood creatures. I mean, did you know... I hate to interrupt, Mr. Irwin, but Ranger Matthews is investigating this girl's murder, which took place close to where you were filming. A murder? I'm afraid I didn't see anything, Ranger Matthews, so if she wasn't killed by a croc, I can't help you.
Strike marks on the shell casings match. That means that you're going down for murder 1.
It's 3.
That's life without
Anything new? Yep, 1 energy.
Nice try. Buy it. How can you give us the correct one? He's full of it. And I can't testify.
She already did preliminary hearing. Because Luke's attorney cross-examined her.
Matthew, keep your eyes peeled for anything that could have belonged to our victim. Where did that monkey come from? Matthew, get it off me. That scam stole my sunglasses, but they're essential to my flirting technique. We've got to get them back.
A chance to see the light of day without prison bars blocking. If what you tell us leads to his conviction, be guilty of murder to uncertain max. 25 years. But the old way to be out.
Okay. Monkey thief. There we go. Aha! Take that, you thieving monkey. I knew you'd get my sunglasses back, Matthew. And they're not the only thing it stole. What about that toy monkey it was holding? Oh, you're right. Our victim's brother said Riaja never went anywhere without her toy monkey. I bet this is hers. There's some kind of powder on the toy. Let's vacuum it up. You also found a broken test tube? I wonder how that got out here. I bet those monkeys broke it. Think you can collect a sample? Alright, I'll get some more stars. Sit tight. Alright. I got myself 7 stars. Let's examine the broken test tube first. Great. You collected a sample of that liquid from the broken test tube? Let's go back to the boat and put it under the microscope. Let's examine it.
To locate and translate these publications, which are now accessible to the public. Once projects are initiated, research and translation work is carried out by professors, advanced students, and field experts at the University of Hawaii. Translation and source texts are then made public through
Got it.
access. Among the many topics found,
One more. 17 again. Test serum. What does the microscope report say about that substance you collected from the broken test tube, Matthew? The substance contains selenium oxidichloride and ferric hexacyanoferrate. That's quite the mouthful. Matthew, be careful. That combination is what turned me blue in Thailand. You mean like that professor we met? With the one who turned himself blue thanks to his experiments? Right, Professor Metcalf. He must be in these parts. I can't wait to catch up with him. That'll have to wait, bro. This is the second time Professor Metcalf's been implicated in the murder of a Sombra recruit. Just what are the chances of that, Matthew? We need to chat with Professor Metcalf. Why Professor Metcalf is on the island? Hello, Professor. May we ask what you're doing here? Indonesia seems like an unlikely location for a scientist. It's the perfect location, Ranger Matthew. The monkey forest provides me with an endless supply of research of test subjects. You're here to experiment on the monkeys? That's animal cruelty. I don't test anything on them that I haven't tested on myself first. Anyway, what do you want from me, Ranger Matthew? We found a girl called Riaja Somalingi murdered. We're looking... Never heard of her. Anyway, if you'll excuse me, I need to get back to my experiments, Ranger Matthew.
that's because the first of 8 burger joints from Emerald Trading Chain will open soon. I'll tell you what to expect after the break.
There we are. That powder you vacuumed up from the toy monkey was covering a message. It reads, "To the best little sister in the world." This proves it's the toy our victim's brother gave her when they were kids. He says she still took it everywhere with her, though. So how did it end up in the forest? Good idea. This yellow dust might tell us more. Let's get it to Lars. 18 hours. Alright, I'll see you guys when both of these are done. For now, this is Matthew. See you then. Alright folks, we're back. Let's get the results of the victim's body.
What I like about
Matthew, I can't believe I have to autopsy another young person. Seeing any life cut short is tragic, but it really hits home when they're barely more than kids. What's more, there was something unusual about your victim. She had yellow eyes. You mean she wasn't just wearing colored contacts? What the heck could have turned her eyes yellow? Unfortunately, I couldn't determine the cause. What I can tell you is that your victim was shot from behind with a spear gun at a distance of 20 feet. Spear guns are commonly used in fishing communities like those which exist on some Indonesian islands, where fishermen still dive to catch their fish. Normally, the spear doesn't come completely detached from the barrel, though, so keep your eyes peeled for the rest of the spear gun, Matthew. Anyway, the spear pierced your victim's right lung, causing a pneumothorax, otherwise known as a collapsed lung. But more importantly, after examining the angle and velocity at which the spear penetrated your victim's body, I can tell you that your killer's dominant hand is their left hand. Our killer is left-handed, eh? Well, they'll be led to the murder conviction once you caught them, Matthew. And the powder? Hey Matthew, I've got a joke. Dude, I love your jokes, but we gotta solve this murder ASAP if we want to stay hot on Sombra's trail. So just tell us about that powder Matthew collected from our victim's toy monkey. You sure don't monkey around, do you, Matthew? Okay. The powder you sent me contained ginger and turmeric, both of which are typically used to make jamu, a local herbal medicine. You can see itinerant jamu sellers carrying their wares in a basket all around Indonesia. And before you asked, Matthew, Angela said there was no trace of jamu in the victim's body, and that stuff stays in your system for days. So the jamu didn't come from the victim, not to mention we found her body on the beach and the toy was in the forest. What does that tell us? Matthew, you're right. The only person who could have touched that toy after the victim died is our killer. So our killer takes jamu herbal medicine, while a hefty prison sentence is just what the doctor ordered, Matthew.
Complete mess. He cashed out his 401k to live on. He's underwater on the house.
Looky here, it was insured for the full value.
This time we're definitely hot on Sombra's heels, Matthew. After all, our victim is none other than one of their recruits. Her brother clearly had no idea, but then again, who expects their little sister to be indoctrinated by a criminal organization? Professor Metcalf is also here, and he's up to no good testing on monkeys. And speaking of experiments, we still don't know exactly what Sombra's up to. Matthew, I've got a lead. Elliot, you heard what the chief said about taking a break. But this is important. We've had another tip-off from X. There's a Sombra camp on the island, and X gave me the coordinates.
That's fine. You're making a mistake. Where is he? I want to see him.
You can't tell me. He's under arrest.
See you guys for Chapter 2.
Couldn't afford your car payment.
Alright folks, we're back. Let's start Chapter 2 of The Sweet Escape in Elite Mode. This time we're definitely hot on Sombra's heels, Matthew. Our victim is none other than one of their recruits. But we've yet to learn anything about Sombra's experiments. Matthew, I've got a lead. X sent us another message. It says, Ranger Matthew, you're taking too long. Sombra set up camp in an abandoned village. You'll discover more there. I still don't think we should trust this X blindly, but I guess you're right, Matthew. We need to check this camp out. Elliot, give us the coordinates and let's go.
Insurance just paid off the loan.
Your house. Your dad was in trouble and he didn't know what else to do. Worked before. Why not do it again? Oh God.
Hey, look, this is all a mistake. I didn't do it.
This village sure is abandoned. There's not a soul to be seen. But look at all this medical equipment. What kind of experiments are Sombra performing on these kids? And what's on that clipboard you picked up? Some weird blobby things? Oh, it's an ink blot test. Psychologists use them to assess a patient's personality, and it was performed on our victim. We better recover the writings. You also picked up a wooden rabbit, Matthew? I don't see why it's relevant, but if you want to unlock that padlock, be my guest. But this is more like it. You found the victim's backpack. Let's look through it quick. Finding Sombra's camp is a huge breakthrough, Matthew, but we won't have time to fully explore it until we've cracked this murder. So let's do this. I'm gonna get a few more stars, so sit tight, folks. Okay. Now I got 20 stars. Let's examine the backpack first.
To him, it's an open and shut case.
The ring.
I spent 7 years.
The only personal effect Riaja had in her backpack was this ring. I'm not questioning your skills, Matthew, but how does this help? Welcome, tourist. I am Abad Churcha, the local Tukun. I see you have one of my rings. You like? I can bless one similar just for you. Whoa, where did you come from? Ranger Matthew need a word with you, sir. What are you doing at the Sombra camp? What are you doing at this camp, Mr. Churcha? I live nearby. This village has been abandoned for years, so I was surprised when the camp appeared recently. Okay, and how did this ring end up in Riaja Somalingi's backpack? I must have blessed it for her. Of course, I can't remember all the people who visit me. I've blessed countless rings. Are you sure you don't want one, young man? I sense you're having relationship difficulties. As a matter of fact, I am. My girlfriend Asal has been so... like Ranger Matthew says, we're investigating a murder here. This Riaja girl was murdered. That's unfortunate. But back to my services. What about a good luck spell, Ranger Matthew? It could help your investigation. No thanks, but stick around. Ranger Matthew may have more questions for you.
Frank, I need you to help us out here. Come on.
Ink blot test. There we are. Psychological analysis. Look, Matthew, the comment on this ink blot test reads, the subject perceives a bear with blood on its face. I conclude that the subject shows signs of psychological instability. A bear? It's obviously two dwarves fist bumping. Your Oedipus complex clearly runs deeper than I thought, Jack. Eek! Marina, what are you doing here? Elliot told me about the camp, and I wanted to see it for myself. And now I'm here. I think I might be of use, Matthew. Judging from this ink blot test, Sombra employs a psychologist called Maya Salim to assess its recruits. And if you don't mind, Matthew, I'd like to interrogate her. This Maya has a lot of questions to answer about what she's been doing for Sombra. Let's go find out exactly what this Maya Salim has been doing for Sombra, Matthew. Hello, Miss Salim. I'd like to ask you about this ink blot test we found. I'm also a psychologist, and I'd be interested in discussing Riaja's case and her signs of psychological instability. Oh yes, the poor girl is quite disturbed. She has terrible delusions. During my assessment, she refused the jamu I offered in case it was poison, and then she said she didn't trust me anyway because I was writing with my left hand. Perhaps she was right not to trust anyone because she's been murdered. Murdered? How awful! I fear things would end badly for her. Surely murder is par for the course when you work for Sombra, as you do. How long have you been working for them? Sombra? I have no idea what you're talking about. I was called in specifically to assess the victim. The client remains anonymous. I don't believe you'd carry out a psychological evaluation without knowing who'd requested it, Miss Salim. Stick around. Ranger Matthew might want to talk to you again.
It's like the party's over. Oh, actually, it's just getting started.
It disgusts me how unethical some psychologists are, Matthew.
Send me to bring you in.
And Miss Salim conveniently neglected to mention that Riaja's erratic behavior was probably the result of whatever Samra's been doing to these youths. It's crucial that you get to the bottom of this, Matthew. Grab Jack and continue your investigation.
It means sending him to jail for the rest of his life.
Innocent? He lied to you about being out of work. He forgot to mention that he torched a crime. He even attempted suicide. You there. What a joke. He's snowing you.
Jack, when I first came to the DA's office, you told me to stop thinking you were wrong, because probable cause wasn't good enough.
1QA4.
Beyond a reasonable doubt. Aren't my doubts reasonable? A fire marshal would
C4RS.
So let the jury decide. That's what they're for.
What the? Is that blood, Matthew? How did it get on that board? And I still don't understand what that board is supposed to be. You're right. Let's just send it to Lars.
Well, I believed you. Now I'm asking you to believe me.
24 hours. I'll get the results tomorrow afternoon. I'll see you guys later. Alright folks, we're back. Let's get the results of the bloody board. Bro, did you identify whose blood was on that wooden rabbit Matthew sent you? Sure did. It was your victim's blood. Great, so our killer must have touched this, whatever this thing is. That thing is a Kongklak board. Kongklak is a popular Indonesian board game, often in the shape of an animal, which is played with cowrie shells. Indeed, Kongklak is the Indonesian name for cowrie shells. The aim of the game is to gather more shells than your opponent. I'd be happy to challenge you to a game, mes amis. Perhaps ask Sanjay DuPont. Matthew's got a case to crack. And now we're one step closer because we know that the killer plays Kongklak. Let's see how good they are at playing cat and mouse, Matthew. Matthew, we knew a case involving a murder Sombra recruit would be complicated, but I'm more confused than ever. The quicker we wrap this up, the better. Then we can take a proper look at that Sombra camp. You're right, we need to find out more about Riaja's movements before her death, and the one place you know where she liked to go is the forest. Just promise me you'll let me know if there's a monkey on my shoulder this time, Matthew. Then let's head back to the forest. Not very far away from leveling up to level 336. I'm also about 15 levels away from leveling up, moving up a ranking. Okay. Great. Let's hurry, Matthew. I don't want to risk losing any more belongings to these monkeys. You found some broken pieces. Color me surprised. Let's tape them up. And look at this cap. It's covered in blood. I'll let you grab a sample, Matthew. Yes, you will. I'm gonna do everything now. I'm not gonna wait. I'm not gonna get some more stars. I have everything already. $17 energy. Ah, those broken pieces form a handprint mold, just like we made as kids. And look, the handprints belong to Riaja and her brother Alam. She was only 5 at the time. I wonder how a precious childhood souvenir like this ended up broken. Matthew, we better broken, Matthew. We better ask Alam. Let's give it back to him. Alam, how did this handprint mold you made with your sister end up broken? Oh, you found that, Ranger Matthew. I remember the day Riaja and I made it. She was teasing me for being left-handed. Anyway, that was before she changed. You mentioned that before, but what changed exactly? She stopped helping me entirely. I spent all day catching fish to bring home, but when I returned, she'd have done nothing around the house. I even offered to teach her how to make jamu so she could sell it, but she wasn't interested. And she wasn't even good company. Every time I suggested we play Conclack, she laughed and said it was a game for kids. I missed out on going to the big city so I could take care of her, and that's how she thanked me. In the end, I lost my temper and told her to find a husband to provide for her. That's when I broke the mold. That's a lot of pent-up anger, and if Ranger Matthew discovers that you killed Riaja just so you could relocate, the only place you'll be calling home is prison. Bloody cat now. There we are, 16. You collected a sample of that blood from the cat, Matthew? Well, we both know the drill. Let's send it to Lars. "24 hours also. I know the new case will be open soon, but this case will be uploaded by the time that it's done. So for now, this is Matthew. See y'all then." Alright folks, we're back. Let's get the results of the blood. I know I'm a little bit behind with this, but let's just get it anyway. Dude, did you figure out who that blood Matthew collected from the cat belonged to? No, I didn't. But my assistant here did. Hey Matthew, Lars has been teaching me about DNA. Do you know what it stands for? I can't say I do. It stands for deoxyribonucleic acid, and there were 2 lots of DNA in the sample you sent us. The blood itself belonged to a Mr. Irwin, but we also found traces of sweat, which belonged to your victim. So the cat must have belonged to Riaja, but how did Paul's blood get on it, Matthew? Agreed. There's only one person who can explain this to us. Let's talk to Paul. Let's ask Paul Irwin. Mr. Irwin, Ranger Matthew would like to ask you how your blood ended up on our victim's cat. You know, I'm also a victim here, Ranger Matthew. I was filming Clive. Clive? You gave the crocodile a name? I mean, please continue. As I was saying, I was busy shooting when that girl bumped into me. She started going bananas, shouting at me to stop filming and accusing me of being some kind of agent. I had no idea what she was on about. I told her to lower her voice so as not to stress out Clive. And that's when she took me out with a vicious right hook. I've had to take jamu every day since to recover. Well, if Ranger Matthew discovers you took your revenge by killing Riaja, then the judge will be handing down a lengthy prison sentence. Matthew, let's recap. We've got a dead Sombra recruit and a creepy camp. Sombra's doing some kind of experiments. Could the two be related, Matthew? I mean, who knows what Sombra might have put Riaja through at that camp? She underwent psychological tests, that much we know, but the psychologist Maya Salim claimed she had no idea who the client was. Both Maya and Paul suggested that something wasn't quite right with Riaja. Perhaps whatever issues she was having were the result of Sombra's experiments. And not only was Riaja potentially suffering at Sombra's hands, her brother was also trying to get rid of her. She must have been stuck between a rock and a hard place. Matthew, I've been keeping an eye on the Sombra camp via the satellite, and it seems like they're packing up. Sombra's abandoning their camp? Got another sticker pack. See y'all for Chapter 3. Alright folks, we're back. Let's start Chapter 3. Matthew, let's recap. We've got a dead Sombra recruit who might have been experimented on at that camp which X pointed us to. And not only was Riaja potentially suffering at the hands of Sombra, Matthew, I've been keeping an eye out for activity at the camp via the satellite, and it seems like Sombra's packing up. Sombra's leaving. Quick, Matthew, we gotta get back to that camp before they can remove any evidence. Well, I better hurry and finish this up. At least get all the stars before this happy hour ends in 15 minutes. There we are. Got the first star already. We're too late, Matthew. Nobody's here. But I'm guessing from that grin on your face that Sombra didn't have time to clear everything out before we arrived. What did you find? A locked voice recorder? Well, you better crack the code. And a chemistry set? That's all well and good, but it's empty. Oh, you want to test the chemistry set for Prince? Good thinking, Matthew. And this crate looks like it contains weaponry. We better look through it, quick. I'm gonna do everything now. Hopefully I can get There we are. 9. You've uncovered the fingerprints on that chemistry set, Matthew. Whoever they're from must be part of Sombra. Let's look for a match in the database, quick. There we are, 17. Marshall Metcalf? The fingerprints on that chemistry set belong to Professor Metcalf? He conveniently forgot to mention he'd been here at the camp, and that he was working for Sombra. We need to grill Professor Metcalf about what he's really doing here. About his ties to Sombra? First, a moment. Okay. Oh, Ranger Matthew, you caught me on my way to a Conclac game. Save your breath, Professor. You were running away because you knew we were onto you. Ranger Matthew found your chemistry set at the Sombra camp. How long have you been working for them? What kind of experiments have you been putting these youths through? Youths? I don't know what you're talking about, Ranger Matthew. I told you, I'm here to experiment on the monkeys. I've been trying to establish whether feeding them Jamu would give them the same health benefits as it gives me. It's cutting-edge research. Fine, keep your secret, but Ranger Matthew won't rest until we figured out exactly what you're up to, and whether it involves killing Ryaja. Crate of weapons now. There we are. 15. Whoa, that knife you found in the crate is covered in blood, Matthew. What was an old-fashioned knife doing among all that modern weaponry? Let's get it to Lars so we can determine whose blood is on it, quick. How long? 18 hours, okay? Get the results tomorrow. See you guys after we do the voice recorder. N7G 839. Oop. RSB, got it. Mountie, there's not a second to lose. Let's hit play and listen to this recording. This is Maya Salim reporting on test subject number 3776, Riaja Somalinghi. The subject is still exhibiting resistance to the cognitive retraining. Please be advised that her lack of obedience may prove problematic for our organization in the future. I recommend that you take any action necessary to rectify the issue. Mountie, this was recorded by the psychologist you met earlier. Cognitive retraining. That sounds suspiciously like brainwashing, and she mentions our organization. What do you bet she was referring to Sombra? So much for her not knowing who had requested the assessment. We need to interrogate Miss Salim now. Moment, folks. Okay. Let's confront Maya Salim. The game's up, Miss Salim. Ranger Mountie found your voice recorder at the camp. We got proof you're working for Sombra. I knew I'd forgotten something. Did you kill Riaja because she wasn't responding to the brainwashing? Is that it? Don't be ridiculous, Ranger Mountie. I'm a psychologist, not a murderer. I just do my job and I don't ask questions. And what does your job for Sombra entail exactly? My role within the organization is simply to evaluate the youths who pass through the camp and report my findings. Evaluating them is often as simple as carrying out an ink blot test or playing a game of Conclac to assess their competitiveness. And when I suspect they're trouble, I just try to help them. I never hurt them, Ranger Mountie. You're lucky we can't arrest you just for being affiliated with Sombra, but if Ranger Mountie finds proof that you killed Riaja, you'll be in a world of trouble. Now she's in the running. I'll let this thing run its course. See y'all later. Alright folks, we're back. Let's get the results of the bloody dagger right now. Bro, what can you tell us about that bloody dagger Mountie found at the Sombra camp? The blood was your victim's. But Riaja was killed with a spear gun. How did her blood end up on this dagger? That's where I thought Jonah might come in handy, Mountie. Oh great, I would have thought that he was too busy romancing Marina. Your jealousy's showing, dude. Anyway, Mountie, this dagger is known as a kris, and it's a traditional Indonesian weapon. It's typically associated with Javanese culture, and the pattern blade is created by alternating iron and Nicholas iron. Dude, did you just swallow an encyclopedia? You sound like DuPont. Well, it takes more than a six-pack to seduce Marina. Anyway, other than being a weapon, the Kree is considered to be a spiritual object with magical powers. Magical powers, eh? I reckon we need another chat with that witch doctor, Mountie. Too bad this particular witch doctor doesn't give an ooh-ee, ooh-ah-ah, ting-tang, walla-walla, bing-bang, if you know what I mean. Only an 80s kid would get that, believe me. Maybe even a 90s. Mabat Turda, you better explain how this Kree ended up covered in our victim's blood. I was hoping you wouldn't find that. Fine, I performed an exorcism on the girl. It had to be done. She was possessed. You did what? I've been keeping an eye on that camp. Something unnatural was going on there. The girl was fast, like the devil. She was also highly mistrustful, but I managed to convince her that I was just a crazy old Dukun who spends his days playing Conclac, so I could win her trust. And that's when I struck. But the exorcism didn't work. I could still see the devil in her yellow eyes. You're insane! And if Ranger Mountie discovers that you decided to eradicate the devil by killing Riaja, all eyes will be on you in the courtroom. What the heck, Mountie? Mabat Turda exorcised our victim? Yeah, I know he said Riaja was fast like the devil, but that's clearly crazy talk. Wait, you think it might have had something to do with whatever experiments Sombra's performing? Honestly, Matthew, as soon as we crack this murder, we need to find out exactly what Sombra's doing to these youths. There's no time to lose, Matthew. We've got to solve this case. It's clear that Maya and Professor Metcalf are working for Sombra, but we don't have enough proof of wrongdoing to arrest them. You're right, Matthew. Professor Metcalf wears his watch on his right hand, so he must be left-handed. That's another black mark against him. There's only one thing to do if we want to solve this murder, Matthew. We've got to go back to the scene of the crime. Darn it, I should have put on a... immediate hints. The instant magnifier. Spear gun. See if I can find the oh, there it is. Boy, that was pathetic. Wait, is that a spear gun, Matthew? But the spear's missing, which means you found the rest of our murder weapon. You're right, we better take a closer look at this spear gun. And you think the killer might have hidden something in this fishing net? Well, I know what you're like when you get a hunch, Matthew. Let's look through it. There we are, 16. You collected a sample of those fibers from the spear gun, Matthew? There's no time to lose. Let's send them to Lars. 30 hours. There was an ID bracelet in that fishing net, Matthew. I wonder how it ended up there. The engraving reads Riaja Somalingi, subject number 3776. So this was our victim's Sombra identification bracelet. The killer must have tried to hide it after the murder so we wouldn't figure out Riaja was part of Sombra, but they couldn't outsmart you, Matthew. Let's send the bracelet to Lars now. 18 hours, and I'll get the remaining stars. So for now, this is Matthew. See you then. Alright folks, we're back. Let's get the results of the fibers right now. Quick, what did you discover about those fibers from the spear gun, dude? Well, Bro, what are you wearing? Batik. It's an Indonesian print made by using a wax-resistant dyeing technique. The craftsmen apply wax and dots or lines using a tool called a canting, and this wax resists the dye applied to the rest of the fabric, leaving a funky pattern. Okay, I know there's always a point to the stuff you do, so are you telling us that the fibers come from the spear gun? From the spear gun come from a batik print fabric? Precisely. Your killer is wearing red batik print, Matthew. Bro, So, we're on the home stretch. What did you find on the victim's bracelet? Sanjay here is dying to explain. We found more DNA, Matthew. Lars, let me put it under the microscope. It was so cool. And what did we determine from the DNA, Sanjay? Well, it was only a partial DNA sample. But whoever it came from has brown eyes. Ha! The killer thought they could get rid of evidence, but the joke's on them, because now we know they got brown eyes. We'll have them behind bars any second now, Matthew. This is it, Matthew. You got all the evidence you need to arrest Riaja Somalingi's killer. Grab your handcuffs and let's go. It's not the victim's brother. It's certainly not Paul Irwin. It isn't Marshall Metcalf. It is not Mbah Tirta. It is a psychologist. Miss Salim, Ranger Matthews arresting you for the murder of Riaja Somalingi. Is that what Somber does to kids who resist the brainwashing? Shoot them in the back? It's like I told you, Ranger Matthew, I'm just a psychologist. I assess the recruits. I don't kill them. Then how come we found your Jamu on Riaja's toy monkey? Did she drop it in the forest while she was running away from you? Is that how you tracked her down? The health benefits of Jamu are universally recognized in Indonesia. Everybody takes it. Cut it out. You left fibers from your batik print scarf on the spear gun you used to shoot Riaja. Batik is traditional clothing in Indonesia. A few fibers don't prove anything. Give it up, Maya. We also found Riaja's ID bracelet, which you hid after the murder. You let your DNA on it. Alright, I did it. I killed Riaja, but I didn't want to. We have directives to follow, Ranger Matthew. Nobody is allowed to leave the camp before completing the next level of the program. And thanks to the cognitive retraining, nobody had ever tried before. So when Riaja made a run for it, I didn't know what to do. I chased her through the forest, but she wouldn't stop. We got to the beach and I saw the spear gun, and I panicked. I shot her. I didn't mean to kill her, Ranger Matthew. I just wanted to stop her from escaping. She never should have been transferred to the next level program in the first place. It was clear the cognitive retraining hadn't fully taken. You shot a young girl in the back just because she was trying to escape from an evil organization? You'd better start gathering all the information you have on Somber if you want the judge to be lenient, because you're under arrest for the murder of Riaja Somalingi. Maya Salim, you stand accused of murdering Riaja Somalingi on behalf of a global criminal organization. How do you plead? Guilty, Your Honor, but I didn't intend to murder Riaja. I just wanted to prevent her from escaping. There are ways to prevent someone from leaving other than shooting them with a spear gun, Miss Salim. However, as much as it pains me to say, I'm prepared to be lenient in my sentencing should you provide us with details of the experiments which Somber is performing on these young people. I'm not stupid, Your Honor. If I talk, I'll be dead within the day. I'll take my chances in prison. In that case, the International Court hereby sentences you to 30 years in prison. With or without me, Somber will never be stopped, Ranger Matthew. Congratulations on putting another Somber member behind bars, Matthew. However, your work has only just begun. We know for certain that Somber's been carrying out experiments on his brainwashed recruits. And from the look of that camp you discovered and Professor Metcalf's presence, they're almost certainly medical in nature. What we need to discover now is exactly what Somber's trying to achieve with these experiments. You'll have your work cut out for you, Matthew, but I know you can do it. No batik print, clear from the start. No brown eyes, clear from the start. See off for a new life The Next Level 3-6. Alright folks, we're back. Let's start the Next Level 3-6 in Elite Mode. Mountie, congratulations on putting another Sombra member behind bars. Your work isn't over though. We know Sombra's carrying out some type of experiments on his brainwashed recruits, but the question is, to what end? We've learned that they were undergoing psychological tests, but there's definitely more to Sombra's Next Level program. I want you to go back to the Sombra camp, Mountie. If any clues remain about Sombra's activity, that's where you'll find them. Mountie, before you go, Lars says he needs to speak to you about Jack. If they've had another argument about which movie to watch, I swear. You better see what Lars wants, Mountie. I won't tolerate disagreements among my team, movie-related or otherwise. And I'm always up for hunting Sombra, Mountie. What shall we do first? Investigate the camp or talk to Lars? Taking care of the camp first.
Sandbar ban is in effect setting through Monday. DLR says officers will be out in the field here and at the sandbar making checks. The rule is also in effect on Labor Day and holiday weekends. The UFC gym
Okay.
is coming to Millville, the enrollment center for the newest BJ Penn workout facility. Opening its doors today.
Faded folder. Magnet scissors, bottle water.
This one is just, the neighborhood is perfect for us to really, has been waiting for us for a long time. It's definitely a family community, family, so we're really excited about this.
Grand opening for the facility won't be until the end of the year. The enrollment center will be open in the meantime.
You picked up a folder, Mountie? The title's faded, but look at these doodles. There's someone running, thinking, and lifting weights. You're right, this could be linked to whatever Sombra's been doing at this camp. Let's recover the faded info on the folder.
Some of these sunset shots of the high clouds being lit up with color over the islands. This one from the west side of Oahu. And beautiful conditions as those high clouds were overhead. They're clearing out. I'll tell you what,
There we are. The folder's front cover reads Test Subjects Physical Responses. Experiments carried out by Professor Marshall Metcalf. Well, we know Professor Metcalf won't tell us anything, but I bet this folder will. Let's send it to Elliot. Besides, I'm glad to have an excuse to check up on him after that incident in Singapore. I'm not sure he's coping as well as he makes out.
was it windy where you live? We'll take a look at this shot. All the fruit and branches on the ground because of the windy weather.
12 hours.
Because we have seen some strong gusts throughout the day today.
And let's talk to Lars.
Taking a look at those winds this afternoon. Gusts are 30 miles an hour.
Mountie, thank goodness you're here. Something's wrong with Jack. We were having some bro time because I'm missing the triplets and everything. But then he got a phone call and he rushed off looking upset, mumbling something about the beach. Jack's a big boy. He doesn't need us to go running after him. But there must be something seriously wrong. I just know it. Normally he shares everything with me. Will you go with me to the beach to look for him, Matthew? I think you two can handle this. Don't you, Matthew? You guys head to the beach without me. Moored boat.
East side of Maui seeing some light showers for this afternoon, and the east side of Big Island works around the state. Taking a closer look at what's been happening there. You can see those light showers just
Okay.
maybe the tip of the eastern side of the Big Island. What a spot around the states in the upper Hilo area. People are really getting about half an inch of rain in the past 24 hours. Not a lot of rainfall even for the usual wetter spot. Still clouds.
Bananas.
This is a light lookout. Leeward side.
Torn photo.
These clouds for this evening. They clear. Next one. Forecast for showers. Temperatures only dropping down to about 77 degrees. And some clouds around throughout the night.
Nice.
Those winds ramping up to 13 miles an hour before they pick back up early Sunday morning.
I can't see Jack anywhere, Matthew. Did you find anything? Maybe I'm overreacting a bit, but Jack has a tendency to bottle up his feelings, and that's never good. You found some torn pieces, then we need to tape them up. Hey, I recognize this photo. Jack and Asal took it back in Mongolia. Jack keeps his photo with him at all times. Why would he tear it? I've got my reasons, Matthew. Dude, I've been so worried. We need to talk. Dude, what happened? You just ran out on me. I was worried sick. I had to. Asal is here somewhere on the island. Asal? You spent too long in the sun, bro. You haven't seen her since Mongolia. We should take you back to... Hear me out, Matthew. Asal's been so distant lately, she hardly ever returns my calls. But when she did finally contact me this afternoon, I saw that she was calling from an Indonesian number. That means Asal's here in Indonesia, and she didn't even tell me. We have to check around for clues, Matthew. I'm sure she's here somewhere. In fact, I'll bet my next paycheck on it. I'll let you have another look around the beach, Matthew. And bro, I think you'd better pay up front.
And speaking of things on fire, we're gonna switch gears. Randy's here to talk about Jake's makeup.
Yeah, he was on fire super hot. He was last year's conference player of the year. Warrior impressive at the NBA Summer League. Plus a pair of former Rainbow Warriors today in Phoenix. Michael Phelps is 3 for 3. KITV Island Sports at 6 is next.
Soda can, fence, wooden sign, duck. Fire. Crate.
Stephon Yakovich in his first Summer League game today with the Miami Heat organization. An impressive first outing for Serbian Canadian transplant. Anything on Bradley Heat? Yanks got in for about 20 minutes on play in.
And lighthouse and money. I don't know what it is, but I've got a hunch this crate might tell us where Asal is, Matthew. Let's search through it. Okay. A folded wetsuit. That was easy. I knew it. Look at this wetsuit you found in the crate, Matthew. This suit belongs to Asal. It's got her agent number on it. I knew Asal was here somewhere, but how will we find her? You don't have to look. Ranger Matthew, let's get this over with. Let's find out why Asal's in. Sugar Bear, why didn't you tell me you were here in Indonesia? You know that mixing work and pleasure always ends badly, Jack. A quick visit wouldn't have hurt. What are you even doing here? Mossad sent me here on a mission, the details of which are classified. You should know the drill by now. And as for you, Ranger Matthew, don't forget that the Bureau is not the only organization investigating Sombra. I've told you before, the Bureau will bring down Sombra before Mossad does. Don't be like that, Jack. It's nothing personal. I'm just doing my job. And to show there's no hard feelings between us, please take this, Matthew. I'll let the folder run its course, see you all for that. Alright folks, we're back. Let's get the results of Metcalf's experiments. How are you coping, kiddo? Why does everyone keep asking me that? I'm fine. I'm just as tough as you guys are. Anyway, this folder you found is fascinating. Sombra's next level program involves science humankind previously thought impossible. Are you sure you're okay to talk about this, Elliot? I mean, you came pretty close to experiencing Sombra's experiments firsthand. I'm sure. Besides, you need to hear this. Sombra's genetically enhancing its recruits. Genetically enhancing them? To do what exactly? It depends on the recruit. Some are made more intelligent, others are made stronger, and some, like your victim, are made abnormally fast, with lightning reflexes. So Riaja had been experimented on. And that's not all. The experiments have an interesting side effect. They turn the subject's eyes yellow, just like your victims. There was also another familiar name in the folder, Baxter Fraser, the Thai boxer Matthew met in Thailand. What's that, Matthew? Baxter pretended to be wearing yellow contacts? Well, he lied. Baxter's a Sombra recruit and enhanced to be stronger. We'd better keep an eye out for him, Matthew, but in the meantime, let's grill Professor Metcalf about his role in all this. Oh, and Elliot, if you ever need to talk, I'm here for you. Let's ask Professor Metcalf. Professor Metcalf, you're busted. Ranger Matthew found your folder detailing the experiments you've been carrying out on Sombra's recruits. Well, I have nothing to be ashamed of. I'm proud of what I've achieved. You wouldn't understand, Ranger Matthew, but I'm working to improve the human race. I turn these kids into better versions of themselves. Anyway, I'm not doing anything illegal. They all volunteer for it. I doubt they'd be so willing if they hadn't been brainwashed. Besides, Riaja obviously didn't take kindly to being experimented on. Riaja was ungrateful. I wasted precious resources giving her incredible speed, and what did she use it for? To escape to the forest. You disgust me, Professor. Come on, Matthew, let's go before I do something stupid. I need to eat something to recharge my batteries anyway. I hate the fact we don't have enough evidence that a crime's been committed to arrest that so-called professor, Matthew. You're right, I'm of no use in this state. I need to get some fresh air and calm down. Now that I think about it, Jack told me about the monkey forest, and I've been dying to take some photos there. Would you mind coming with me, Matthew? Not a problem. Cell phone, egg. There we go. I'm getting some great photos, Matthew. Oh, but I see you found a cell phone? We can take a look at it if you want, but you'll have to unlock it first. AGB, G3E, YN8. Bam! 17 energy. Check it out. There's a video on the cell phone you unlocked. Let's hit play. Baxter, I'm sending you this video because I don't have much time. I can't take this anymore. We can't let Sombra experiment on us any longer. I fear there will be nothing left of us by the time they're done. We need to go into hiding. We need to go into hiding, Baxter. I'll meet you in Altair. That's in New Zealand. I know somebody from there. Matthew, Riaja must have filmed this video right before she tried to escape. And this Baxter she was talking to must be Baxter Fraser. It sounds like he is also trying to escape Sombra's clutches. Riaja said they should flee to somewhere called Altair, but it sounds like she was cut off. There's nothing more we can do about this right now, Matthew, but we'll have to let the others know. It might be too late for Riaja, but if Baxter's on the run from Sombra, then we'll have to find him. Matthew, I've been looking for you everywhere. We got another tip-off from X. They only sent me one word, Aotearoa. I can't figure out what to make of it. Matthew, you're right. Just before her video to Baxter was cut off, Riaja mentioned something called Altair. She must have meant to say Aotearoa. Did someone mention Aotearoa, mes amis? Aotearoa literally means land of the long white cloud, and it's the Maori name for New Zealand. New Zealand? Riaja might have been killed before she could escape, but there's every chance that Baxter made it to New Zealand. And if there's a rogue Sombra recruit roaming around, we need to find him. Besides, who knows what kind of information he could provide us with about Sombra's evil scheme. We already know that they're brainwashing their recruits before subjecting them to genetic enhancements, but now we need to figure out their end goal. So get ready, Matthew, because we're putting you on the next flight to New Zealand. I get another sticker pack. I do wish the burgers were still... I do wish the food rewards were still there. But I know that won't happen at all. I know that after seeing a photo in a group that, oh good, 5 of them. I know that the recycle ones, when you get up to 100, it turns into a new sticker pack. Only 3 new ones. Okay, let's see. Case 1, case 2, 6. Seven, 8, 10. And once again, like I said before, all cases in collection mode will be off camera. I'm only going to do elite mode. The only 2 cases I did in collection mode that were filmed were case 2 in Grimsboro and case 30 in Grimsboro. Cases 2 and 30 in Grimsboro, because I filmed 30 because it was the only case in elite mode that I did off camera. And that will do. Case 39 is not open yet, But I'll see you guys for another case in elite mode. But I do have 5 burgers. I bought 3 from the daily rewards. So I'll see y'all then.